Hi everyone, welcome back to the Book Brood. Today we're going to be talking about what we read in the second half of March
2021.
2021. Yes. So we have already done a mid-March wrap-up, but this is what we read in the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. I read 5 things.
And I read 6.
Perfect.
So should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the first thing I finished was Luck in the Shadows by Lynn Flueling. And I read this for the Scala Along, hosted by Chris Bookish Coldren, which I will link their channel down below. And so I've been meaning to get into this series for years. This is an epic fantasy told by a woman, which I feel like doesn't get proper representation very often. So this is about Alec of Kerry, and he gets swept up into this new world of intrigue and spying and politics. And this first book, we were really introduced to the broader universe, the just everything, the world, the politics, the people, the magic, all of that. So it was very dense in parts. But I think the characters really shined through. And I think as we go forward into the rest of the series, there's going to be less of the dense world building, more of the characters. And I'm excited to keep going with this.
Yeah, kind of best to do that front loaded, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The first thing I read is A Fall Love Story by Lone Lee.
No, we have to talk about this one together.
Okay, can we talk about it together right now?
Sure.
All right.
But I don't want to talk about it too much because we
Right.
did do a video just on this one book.
Right, so just very briefly, this is a YA romance between Vietnamese high schoolers and their parents each own a...
Vietnamese Americans.
Vietnamese Americans, yes. And their parents both own a pho shop that are just across the street from each other.
Rival pho shops.
Yes.
Yeah, so definitely check out that video when that comes out. I think you're going to be seeing this one first and then that one. But that was a lot of fun. We read it together and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. I think we're going to do more videos like that in the future.
Yeah. The next book I read was To Night Owl from Dogfish by Holly Goldberg Sloan. This is the second time I've read this, but I read it to the children this time. And I love this story. This is a middle grade told entirely through email and letters, back and forth between these two. They're like 11 or 12 years old, I think, these two girls, and their fathers start dating. And at first they don't like each other, and then they become best friends, and they're so excited to be sisters. And in the background, you get all of the drama from the adults, but it's all filtered through a child's view of the world. And it's really well done. I really like this structure of the story.
All right, the second thing I read in March, or second part of March, is Overlord Volume 3, and this is by Kagane Maruyama. I always butcher that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I finally finished this. It took me 6 months to read this, and a large part of that was the last 50 pages. So this continues on with Momonga, and he is trying to fit into this world that he found himself transported to, and he's dealing with more of seeing his friends through the NPCs that they created, and then one of them goes rogue or goes wild, and that is the major crux of this story. It obviously took me a while to read, so it was not my favorite so far. I have yet to start book number 4, volume 4, so we'll see how it continues.
That one was weighing on you for a long time.
Yeah. And I'll do a proper review of that sometime here, so it'll probably land in April.
The next thing I finished is The Invisible Life of Addy LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and I did a full review on this one. I was hearing about this everywhere. Everyone's been talking about how much they loved it, and I was pleasantly surprised. I have never finished anything by V.E. Schwab before. I always DNF, but I really enjoyed this one. I think that the themes of living forever, but nobody remembers you. It was a fun topic to take apart and explore. I don't think this was a perfect book by any stretch of the imagination. I think there was a very clear lack of racial diversity for someone who supposedly traveled the world over 300 years. But I do think that it was a fun read, and I'm glad I read it.
The next thing I read was The Titan's Curse, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, book number 3 by Rick Riordan. Read this one to the children, and we loved it. This one had me very worried at the beginning because Annabeth gets taken by the bad guy like right off the bat, and I was very concerned because they had proven in the first 2 books that they really couldn't get anything done without Annabeth there to help them along. And so the fact that they were going to have to go on an adventure without her legitimately had me concerned. So.
I love how invested you're getting in these.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're really good. I'm glad I'm taking the time to enjoy them, and especially through the lens of the kids, kids experiencing them. So
absolutely,
we are working on Battle of the Labyrinth right now, so we're just chugging along on those.
The next thing I finish is In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. This is the first Ruth Ware book I have ever read. I've heard very mixed things about their work, and I can see why. I'm not a huge fan of mystery suspense novels, but I didn't like this one. I should have DNF'd it, but I did not. I don't like dual timeline. I don't like an author trying to get you to guess the wrong bad guy or whatever. And I'm terrible at guessing, but I called this like in the first, I don't know, 10%, 15% of the story. I totally called it, which is so bizarre for me. I don't know what to say here. I did a full review about it if you want to hear my thoughts.
The next thing I read was Murder in Real Time. This is Patience Price, Counselor at Large, book number 3 by Julianne Lindsay. I did a full review of the trilogy of books. So this was the last one in Patience Price's world. And it was probably the weakest of the 3 books. It did have all of Julianne Lindsay's charms and everything that she writes into her more lighthearted stories. But that love triangle just would not let go. And I don't even feel like it was resolved by the end of the book, which I just kind of found frustrating. So yeah, in a way, I'm glad that those ones, that we're done with those ones.
Ended.
There, yeah.
And the last thing I read in March is Luster by Raven Lalani. And I read this for the Smart Brown Girl book club. And this is a book I'm going to have to do a full review on. This was a very odd book about an unlikable character who starts a relationship with a married man. And the couple is in a open relationship, but you're not quite sure how the wife feels about it. But at one point, the wife invites our main character, Edie, to live in their home and like be a surrogate mother for their adopted child. This is a white couple who adopted a black teenager, and Edie is black. And there's this weird dynamic of, you know, the teenager and our main character trying to bond, but the older couple, the white couple, are just as unlikable and problematic as our main character. And it's just, you just feel so bad for this teenager stuck in the middle of this weird situation. And the teenager is, it was a foster kid who's already been through multiple homes and understands that this is not a perfect home, but it's good enough. And so they're begging our main character, Edie, please don't mess this up for me. Like, I need to be here. And it's just, oh my gosh, it was a train wreck. But like, in a compelling way, I wanted to keep reading it. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I recommend this one, but it was definitely something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Okay, the last thing I read in March was The Day of the Duchess. This is Scandal and Scoundrel, book number 3 by Sarah MacLean. So this was the third and final in this series, and this follows Serafina, who was in the beginning of the first book was being cheated on. And so I struggle with the rehabilitation of a cheater in a romance setting or just in general. Yep. So that was tricky. This one was also dual time. So it's trying to give you it tries to give you backstory to humanize the hero, and to explain how
he's not that bad of a guy.
Yeah, and the worst thing about this one is all of the conflict is due to the characters not speaking true to their feelings to one another. So they're just hiding things, lying by omission constantly throughout this until they finally decide, hey, maybe we should just be honest with each other. And oh my gosh, things tend to work out.
Oh, it's like Bridgerton then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this ended the series on a whimper for me, but the first 2 books I absolutely adored. Yeah. So that is everything we read in the second half of March 2021. If you have anything you want to say about any of the books we read or anything you want to say about the books you read in March, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. If you like stuff from our channel, please subscribe and hit the like button, and hopefully stick around for all of April. We're going to see if we can...
We're going to try VEDA.
Get VEDA
We're going to do
done.
it.
So this will be video number 1.
Bye, guys.
Everyone.